for it. In this day and age, with the availability of credit being what it is, and it's pretty easy to get credit through yard card and a lot of different other ways to do it, you have to close down your open accounts. I got a dealer the other day I talked to, and they're struggling with money. And they've got 4 stores, and it's a dealer I worked with for a long time, and they're going through some tough times. And we started talking about accounts receivable, and I said, Julie, how many dollars you got in accounts receivable? Got almost $200,000 in accounts receivable. Right now, it's a pretty good sized group of dealerships, don't get me wrong. And I said, now, and some of it's legit. Some of it is cities, municipalities, some big landscape contractors. They know they're going to get paid for it. But there was a lot of it that was 90 and 120 days overdue. The probability of getting that money just gets less and less and less. And so they're struggling, right? They've got all this money, but they don't have any of this money. They don't have access to it. And we're getting ready to go in a time of year in our dealerships what we call is the slow season. So in the world that you live in, there are 4 seasons that you transition through. We have season, post-season, slow season, and pre-season. Where you're getting ready to go into a time of year for most of you that is the slow season. And what starts happening in the slow season is we start burning enormous amounts of cash. Would you all agree? So it's not coming in. And so what we have to do again is we have to stop that process. We have to stop that flow. So one of the things we have to do is look at what's killing you right now. And I tell all of my dealers, as we look at a dealership, we have to say, what is killing us right now? What is sucking away my cash flow? If your parts managers did a good job, your cash flow should be up because your parts volume in your parts inventory should be down. Right now, all of you should be sitting on only about 30% of your total parts that you had at peak season. If your parts managers burned their inventory off like they should have, you should have a lot of cash sitting in your dealership now. But I'm telling you, most of your parts managers didn't do that for you. So cash is a critical part of it. Where does that cash come from? The first thing, again, is overtime. I'm not a believer in overtime. Overtime costs you time and a half, a lot of money. Now, how many people in here have your people on overtime during season? And it's notorious in service departments. It blows my mind. When we're in service departments, they say, well, my techs work overtime. I'm going, well, you're only billing out about 60% of all the time you're paying them for now, and now you're working them on overtime on a Saturday, you're paying them time and a half, and you're killing yourself with that. I tell people there's no reason in most of your shops to be paying out overtime. You're paying out overtime because your service department is not efficient. Marketplace go about 10 to 15% below that, and you've got your spot. That's where you want to be at. Some of my dealers call around other dealers. Ever done that before? Hey, just going to call around. What's your labor rate? Well, we're at $60 an hour. And then you call 8 other dealers. Well, we're at $60 an hour. And I go and they say, Bob, everybody here is at $60 an hour. And I say, it's because you all call each other. I call that pooling ignorance. So every hour you produce in your shop, you're losing $5. And I said, you need to give it up. And they go, well, we're brand new. We want to be competitive. I said, compete on quality, don't compete on price. My shops don't compete on price. My shops are the most expensive shops you're going to go into. Our dealers have their labor rate higher than anybody else because we don't compete on the price, we compete on the what? We're going to out-quality you. You're not going to there's nobody in any of the dealerships that we work with that's going to put out better work than the shops that we consult with because we focus on quality. Will people pay more if the quality's there? What irritates people is you had a cheap price and the mower came back, the piece of equipment came back. That's what kills you in your shop. So don't underprice your labor.